to become high performers so they could inspire change in others, build unlimited success, and leave a legacy behind. And I think that resonates with me so much because it's so similar to my own beliefs and mission. So welcome, Colleen. It's a delight to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Regina. And it was a pleasure to meet you when I was actually asked and honored to be on one of these panels of collaboration. And I just thought it was a brilliant idea of what you were doing. And I was like, you know what, Regina, I just want to get to know you better. So we spent some time together. And I feel like collaboration is just key for everything I've done in my life, for the growth of my businesses. And so I wanted to bring together a handful of individuals that I think have really done that well for themselves in collaboration. So we have a pretty strong powerhouse team here today.
I'm so excited to meet
Yeah.
them. So excited to meet them. So do you want to tell us, before we meet everybody else, is there a little bit more about your journey and who you serve and why that's so important to you, Colleen, before we learn more about our panelists?
I'm just going to say at 17 years old, after I walked out of my front door for the first time and knew that I was going to need to be financially independent for the rest of my life because I did not have a family to depend on to be able to assist me with that guide. I had a lot of child trauma and I knew that that's what I needed to do. And so the number one thing I did was just start putting people around me that I knew could help me build my social capital, could provide opportunities from jobs to opportunities of apartments where I was going to live, you know, all the things that we need in our lives. And it's never stopped from that point. And I'm so passionate about women having choices and men and women being able to like live the American dream and build a business for themselves where they can earn unlimited income, have the freedom to be with their families, take them to first day of school like many are doing today. That is like deep down my deep-seated passion. I had no idea that my life would turn out the way that it did, that my husband and I would be surrounded by amazing friends and a large family. We have 7 kids and 13 grandkids. We now own 4 businesses and franchising one of them. Like if someone said you're in the future, you're going to be buying businesses with your husband and building businesses, I would be like, yeah, right. That is not going to happen. So God has a great plan. I'm excited for what that looks like. And so I just can't say enough how honored I am to have attracted the people around me that I've attracted to be able to be on my journey with me. That really is what it comes down to.
That's awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. And I'm so grateful that you agreed to be our co-host today. I'm really looking forward to this show. Would you please introduce each of our guests and have them share a bit about their journey, who they serve, and why?
Well, I'm going to start with the obvious only man in the room. How lucky is Michael to be surrounded by these amazing women? And as you can see by looking at Michael's picture here, it says total disruption. I just feel like I'm a huge disruptor of everything that everyone thinks is normal. And I just do things the way it feels right for me and the way I want to do it, whether it's accepted or not. And when I met Michael, it was a very quick conversation and we were put together from a dear friend of mine, Steve Romano, and he's like my brother from another mother. And when we were introduced and got brought together, I was like, oh, Michael, you've got to be on this collaboration panel with me. Everything you stand for, I'm behind. So Michael, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about your journey, who you serve, and why.
Thank you. And I don't even know that I need to say anything else. That was such an introduction. And, you know, my audience is already taken care of. Thanks. Yeah, it is an honor to be here. So thank you both. And thank you for the rest of the panel as well to sit in with me. Basically, I started out about 25 years ago, not quite as young as you, but just after that, working through being an entrepreneur in the fitness space. And I started having the benefit of working with people that were doing extraordinary things. I was in the DC metropolitan area at the time, and I happened to just get a select group of clients, both men and women, that were exceeding the bar in accomplishments, both personally, philanthropically, societally, and obviously economically. So as I journeyed through that, I evolved into the coaching space out of fitness, and I started bringing those skills I had acquired and those lessons I'd learned, combined with my own not so great childhood, and figured out a way to help people break through things personally and professionally. And then that evolution led me to Total Disruption with my partner, Jake Clendenning. And, we did meet through Steve, who is part of that whole world. And what Total Disruption stands for at this point is taking people like everyone on this panel who's done something extraordinary, interviewing them, highlighting them, showcasing them, and helping them promote their brands and businesses to the world, but the actual essence of what is being accomplished. The light bulb moment, the switch that went off, there's Total Disruption right there. The idea is trying to help change lives by one or two words that are heard by the person at the right time when they're ready to hear it. And it is just my mission, passion, and everything now to just bring this message to the world.
I love that, Michael. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And thank you for being here as well. Total Disruption just totally lands for me. And I know every single person here on this panel are disruptors. They're disruptors in their industry, right? And so that's why this just panel just came together so beautifully. Now, Susie, you are a disruptor, I would say, in the teen space, because you're taking teens, grades 6 through 8, 9 through 12. And I feel like you're the teen whisperer. You want to tell us a little bit? I know you have a lot of other roles. You were just relieved of your duties after a couple of years of being the NABO president here in Phoenix. There's so much that you do. Please share a little bit about your journey, who you serve, and why.
Yeah. It's funny, as you all know, being business owners, it iterates so much. I didn't really take an entrepreneurial path until 10-ish years ago. And it was in something I absolutely despised, which was accounting. But it was my background. It's thought, okay, well, that's where I have a little free time. Let's do that. Keep me busy. I hated it. But I didn't think I'd be here. So 2017, well, I'll start with, I have 5 kids, and I call them 2 batches. There's my first batch, which are my adults. They're almost 30, 27, and 25. And then I have the just turned 13-year-old twins. So 12-year gap there. It was done on purpose, bought and paid for, the twins. Everyone always asks, so I'll just clear the air. But what I had learned in 2017, when my oldest son joined the military, he left college and went into the military earlier than he thought, but hey, loves it. He's going on his 7.5 years now, loving it. And then my youngest son had just entered ASU with the goal of a police officer, which he is now, has been for 3 years, a little over 3 years in Tempe. I learned in that space in 2017, when I got in some of those Facebook groups, you're like, okay, your kid's on a new path. You want to learn stuff. And I was shocked at how many and how much suicide was a problem for 14, the young kids in the military. And then it started just coming down into the teens, the 15-year-olds, as I was like, what is happening? Right. That definitely wasn't what I expected to see. So with that, I decided to get certified, be ready. Everything I do and still do to this day is to be ready for my children. And then just kind of went from there, learning my path in suicidal ideation, that's not normal. People don't have these thoughts and it be normal. So learning through that path and all of the things and why and how. Why at 20 are we thinking this? Why at 18? Why at 15? It's all of these things these kids experience, whether you want to call big traumas, little traumas, however you define it. It's just the stuff, that they go through and they experience. Bullying. I had that with my youngest, one of the twins. We pulled her out of school before COVID because bullying. It's still sometimes a problem, and it's hurt that self-esteem and whittled her down. It's tough. So when you couple all of these things and wonder what is it that these kids need, and then I looked at my own journey. I'm like, well, here I am now 50, but started in my 40s with self-development journey, finding modalities. Spas, whatever you can do, anything to make you feel better, right? A sound bath, this, that. Why are we not teaching the children? So that's where Team Warrior Academy came in. It really I focus on 3 things right now. athletes and high performers, but I very much keep that mental aspect and then emotional wellness front and center in every program. I do red light therapy with the kids. I teach them journaling, other good habits. We develop healthy habits and routines. We use grounding. We use meditation, hypnotherapy. We use all of these things just to introduce them, get them used to stuff. That's really what it's about, giving them so many options that when they get older, or even currently now, they have a way to cope, because we can't avoid these things, but we absolutely can do a lot to mitigate how they sit in our body and fester through time. And that's really what it's about. So yeah, I focus on the athletes, and then I focus on executive function, because I feel like that's important. If you can really fine tune your organization, your life, your, just the basics, having good habits and routines, that puts that stress level way down. Put the stress level down, not as likely to have anxiety, not as likely to lead into depression, and on and on. So that's really the goal here. And there's so many aspects that are going to be coming with the Team Warrior Academy. I just opened my first location, but it's only a teeny piece because I need a bigger building. So we're on that path for next year. But that's where I hang right now.
Awesome.
Oh, I love it so much. Well, that's a great segue right into Melissa Deely, Susie. So thank you for that, because she really believes, and I believe, because Melissa's been my health coach now for, I don't even know how long, 4 or 5 years, also for my husband, that your health is your wealth. And I believe that 1,000%. So Melissa, we've been not only working as clients of each other. You've been part of my community, the LEAP community, for a long time. You've served so many ladies in my proximity for their health. Every time anyone starts talking about health, I just send them directly to Melissa to start focusing on their health the proper way. As a certified personal trainer, I was like, I just think I love to work out and talk about health and talk about nutrition, but I don't really want to be the one working out with them or guiding them through it. Like, I'd rather build the businesses, and then I just send everyone to Melissa for the health. So Melissa, talk a little bit about your journey, why you do what you do. And I know it's a very, very, very deep why, and who you serve.
Thank you very much, Colleen. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate the invitation. And I was in the corporate world for 24 years, loved my job. And one day, big fish bought little fish, and I was let go and had no more job. And in that moment, I knew that whatever I did next needed to be more of service to the planet and humanity. And then I had no idea what that was going to be. However, I was open to being guided. And I was very much guided into health and wellness, because soon after, my oldest daughter got a concussion in her first grade 12 soccer game of the season. And I started going to her appointments with her. I wasn't working full time. I wanted to learn about and how I could support her, because I knew the healing didn't happen at the appointment. It happened in what she was doing between the appointments. And 2 months later, I was driving to Vancouver. Yes, I'm in Canada. And I got a phone call from the high school asking me to go pick up my younger daughter, who had a suspected concussion from grade 8 gym class. And in that moment, I just kind of threw up my arms as I was driving and looked out over the horizon and said, "This is how you show me my path? Stop taking out my children." So now I'm working with 2 very different concussions, guiding them both. And I live in a small town. People knew our story, and other people just started organically reaching out. My son got a concussion. What do I do? I have an employee coming back to work with a concussion. How do I support them? And before long, I was invited to work in a holistic clinic, which I wanted to do, except that I couldn't get liability insurance because I didn't have a certification. So that sent me back to school, where I started health coaching. And from the moment I landed there, I knew that I had found my purpose, my passion for the next half of my life. And I started thinking, wow, if I don't know all of this about my own body in my 40s, how many other people don't as well? Because they've been busy in their career, being a mom, a daughter, a sister, a wife, et cetera, et cetera. So I could just share these little tidbits of things that we can do on the holistic side and adjust our lifestyle in order to reduce our risk of chronic illness, et cetera. And so I, as I said, was very much guided down this path, and I'm a curious person and always learning. So I went from health coaching into becoming an integrative health practitioner because I started studying functional medicine lab testing. Because what if we could see the imbalances inside the body, the toxicities inside the body, and understand that in order to then bring the body back into balance, at which point it will heal itself. And from there, I discover NLP and timeline therapy and hypnotherapy. And again, a naturopathic doctor found me on LinkedIn, reached out and started talking about the world's most powerful mind-body tools. And it was at exactly the right time, because the universe always does that. And it was at a time where I was questioning, why do some people follow my wellness protocols and get great results and follow them perfectly, like Colleen and Julie? And why do other people have the best of intentions and get stuck and fall off? And it was because I started learning, it's because of that childhood programming, that 0 to 7 window, and the limiting beliefs and the trauma that's happened that Susie was talking about earlier. And so these tools allowed me to start working with people in their physical body, their emotional body, their mental body, and their spiritual body. So I named myself the Friendly Toxin Slayer because I help people detox all 4 bodies. And I love these tools so much that I've gone on to become a trainer in all of them in order to help other coaches working with people have these powerful tools of the unconscious mind to get results for their clients with ease and grace. And it's been an incredible journey.
Thank you, Melissa. That was beautiful. And you do exactly that in so many ways. And I don't really have an order of who I was going to introduce. I'm just kind of flowing with what you're each saying. And, I believe the next person, Julie Jones, really does that with disbeliefs and all of the things that people believe can or can't happen, right? There's this disbelief, and there isn't anybody who lives the platform more, stop waiting, start living, than Julie Jones. In fact, I put her in my life on purpose about 4 or 5 years ago because I really needed someone that was fun, that could teach me how to be fun, to have fun, to not take things so serious. And I mean, we've just had an amazing life together as couples with my husband and her husband, Mike. We've shared so many wonderful memories up to this point and have really intertwined our lives together as clients of one another, of working on projects together. So Julie, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you came to that platform, and who you're serving and why?
Well, speaking of fun, Colleen, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here because, as you know, I'm not out and about very much, right? Like I've kind of taken a hiatus, and I'll share that in just a moment. But my story begins with Susie. There's some commonality there. I'm a former law enforcement officer. I was a police officer for 10 years in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I was also on the SWAT team, lot of accolades when I was in law enforcement. And I moved out here to Arizona 23 years ago. But the one thing that I always saw in law enforcement that was the hardest thing to ever have to do was really to give death notifications, to let people know that their loved ones, were not coming home here today, and gone for tomorrow. See, I've saw from an early age, like that just people believe that they have this promise of tomorrow. And, not only in law enforcement, but in my own personal life, I really saw that that's not the case. So 20 years ago, at the young age of 59, my mom passes away from early onset Alzheimer's. 30 days later, my grandmother passes away. So 2 strong women influences in my life are suddenly gone. Then about 5 years ago, and you think, okay, I lost a parent at an early age. I'm going to have my other parent for a long time. And at the young age, again, of 78. And I say young age because I'm 56. And when you start looking at these numbers, you realize that this is really young, because I consider myself incredibly young. I know I look good for my age. I know that exactly, right? But it's like, I lost my father. Now in August, it'll be 5 years from undiagnosed pancreatic cancer.
Mm.
And then the most tragic of all of these losses is that, again, at the young age, my husband was only 56, soon to turn 57. In November of this past year, was diagnosed with stage 4 metastasized colon cancer, and he has subsequently passed on April 29th of this year. And so all of those journeys, and Melissa, like you, I've said to God, I've said, I don't need any more examples of my platform of to stop waiting, start living. And that's, with everything that I do, I incorporate the element of fun, the unconventional, to really get people out of the stinking thinking, as I call it, and to really move forward with their life. And you don't have to be a professional or an entrepreneur in business. See, we get one shot at this life. And like, what are you doing with it? And if you choose to sit on the couch and eat bonbons, that's fine. But if as you're sitting there and you're thinking, gosh, I wish I could be doing this, or I should be doing this, or I would love to be doing this, then let's have a conversation. See, because like Melissa, I'm a master practitioner in NLP and hypnotherapy and breakthrough sessions. And I have a unique way of helping people to get unstuck. But the other gift that I've been giving is I'm highly intuitive. So a lot of times when I'm talking to people, it's just downloading. It's downloading and it's coming out of my mouth. And with my previous experience of being in law enforcement, I have a very kind way of being direct from a loving heart. See, people don't pay me for fluff. But like, if you really want to move forward in your life, then it's time, really, truly, like that is who I serve. And I am just amazed sometimes at the people that come to me. It's usually people who have been on a personal growth journey and they're just not getting to where they want to be. And they're ready for the one and done, like to meet with me. And I've had so many people say, Julie, I was never thinking of hiring you. And then I listen to you, and the amount of success that people that get, it's really about leveling up. See, nobody is a failure in life. We're born perfect, we live perfect, and we die perfect. But it's this that gets in the way. And so I am just incredibly passionate about having fun, having people live their best life, and doing it in the now.
I love that, Julie.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing that journey. I know it's not easy. I'll be honest here for a minute. I woke up this morning to a tragic Facebook post. As I'm sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. A really good friend of mine, two people that live in the neighborhood that my husband and I have gotten close to, they helped us buy our land a couple of years ago up in Happy Jack, Arizona, and he tragically passed away Saturday. And that is like what you're saying, Julie. We get one shot, and if this message is the only thing that anybody hears today is you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that while you're here? Like Julie said, you don't have to be, success doesn't have to be defined as a lot of money or a big empire or something that you build. Success can be raising 5 beautiful children to go off into the world to believe in themselves and understand themselves and have good, healthy boundaries. That is success, and, so when I'm moving over to Christina, she works with businesses that kind of, I feel like, they are getting that one shot, right? To grow their businesses, to perfect who they are, position themselves for what they stand for. And so many people out there, like Michael was saying, when we started this off, they missed that opportunity to deliver that message the way it needs to be delivered. And Christina, with the Province Consulting Group, has really stepped up to say, like, hey, there's a lot of funding out there that's available for companies, but if you're not positioned, they're just going to pass you right over. It's like you're invisible. Christina and I actually met in in Orange County, California, I was a speaker at the SCORE Women's Breakfast Club, and we just hit it off. I don't know what it was. I liked her. So I went over and her Christmas lights that she was putting on her vendor table were a mess, Regina. Like, girl, they were like bundled up in a knot. So one by one, I'm helping her get them all strung out, to put on her table. And we're talking about what she does. And then she just resonated with my message about, what your flame is. Is it pilot light? Or are you ready to turn up that flame and creating a burning inferno? What's holding you back? And she's like, I'm holding myself back. I can do way more. So we started working together in a mastermind, and I was traveling with Christina. We built a beautiful friendship over the years. So Christina, I would love for you to share a little bit about your journey, your beautiful family, and who you serve.
Well, hello, everyone. And thank you, Colleen, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Regina, for having me on, and for all the panelists here. So my journey really began with, like a couple of you mentioned, I was in corporate America for about 18 years in life insurance. And my big thing there was, it was fine. I started, pretty young doing it. But my big thing was that I did not want to die doing this. It was just, not something that lit me up, to Colleen's point. It paid the bills, but it just didn't light me up. And I really wanted to pursue something else. And honestly, I wasn't sure what that was. And so I started to kind of do research, because I'm a very good researcher, and looked into what I thought at first was going to be grant writing. And I went in to actually speak with a coach. And this is why for a while I kind of had an aversion to that, because this person was looking past me, very dismissive. And, I felt like, okay, I can't switch over from this. I need to stay into the lane that I'm in. But then I had a wonderful coach, another person that really helped me kind of find, my path. And so with that, I started doing government contracting. And what I really found that lights me up, even to this day, is helping other small businesses. Other small businesses are people who just think that they might not be able to do it. And just making them aware of, here's another sales revenue stream when you're struggling in that, private sector work. Here's another way that you can do it. And I really enjoy working with businesses, particularly women, and honestly myself as a minority-owned women. And also just, any person who feels like they don't have another avenue to build their business success. So I've been doing that now on and off 16 years. And I say on and off because I like to say before cancer and after, because there was a period in there where I was going through treatment at a pretty young age of having breast cancer aggressively. And yes, I had my business, but I was not really doing anything. I was, just trying to survive and get used to this new normal for me at the moment. And I feel like coming out on the other side, I've been so much more productive and aggressive in what I know that I need to do. To your point, Julie, like life is very short. And I really realized that in that moment. I was working myself to death before that, trying to meet everyone's needs, and realize that, my needs weren't being met. And if I can't meet my needs, no one else's needs going to be met. I won't be here for my kids. I won't be here for my husband. And, I feel like that was God sitting me down and saying, hey, let's refocus and help others by letting them know that they can do it, and that you've helped yourself first so you can help others.
I love that, Christina. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your journey. And I think it's important for us to step back when things in our life. I was just actually starting the Simone Biles documentary the other day, and realized like we don't focus on a lot of mental health. That's what Susie was talking about earlier. We're not focusing on mental health, and that's the number one thing taking people out, right? Is that mental health segment. So Regina, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Awesome.
So you can take us to the next phase of today's collaboration panel.
First of all, let me just say, what an amazing panel. your passion, each of you. I feel your passion for what you're doing. And so what I'd like to do is channel that passion a bit that you each have. And so as I listened to you, I heard some of you had a difficult childhood. Oops, we had a little error message pop up here. Let me get that out of our way. Hang on one second. Maybe I can get it out of the way. I think we lost our Facebook connection. This is live. Whatever happens, happens. But here's what I heard from some of you, that either you had a difficult childhood, or you work with someone that has, or you've lost loved ones. Julie, I was a widow in 2014. I feel what you're going through there. It's one of the toughest challenges that we face in life. I heard limiting beliefs and trauma, childhood programming, all of those kinds of things. So my question for you is, because you're all so tuned into this, how do we collaborate to change the world as it relates to, say, this upcoming generation, so that they don't have to go through everything that either we've been through or people that we know have been through? What's the opportunity for collaboration here to make a bigger difference than you are each making right now? And feel free to just hop in.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself. Go ahead, Susie.
Yeah.
The first thing that popped in my mind, because I didn't say it, but Julie, Melissa, I am master trained in NLP, and that is what I do bring into the kids. And I would say, if we could, I hate to say it, educate the parents better.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what I have found when I was deep in suicide prevention work, and then now have teetered off kind of this way, is parents are afraid to ask the big questions. So I think if we can really help people remove fear around the truth, oh my gosh, it would be so much better. So, just, I guess, getting in that space. If I think of collabing, I can pick 3 of you out right now and go, oh, we can make magic and really teach the world. But I think everybody has to take a different stance in how they want to be and how they want to show up and what they're willing to hear and deal with. And then we can start making big differences. So if, we can get on the same page in that respective, I think that would be a big bonus starting there.
I heard an amazing saying yesterday. There's not a lazy kid, only lazy parents.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoop, whoop.
Something we don't think about, right?
Go ahead, Melissa.
I think also, if obviously, Regina, thank you for this opportunity to have this conversation. And the more conversations we have like this helps to educate the rest of the world about the tools that are now available that maybe weren't available 50 years ago, because we've learned a lot more about the brain and the mind in that time. And bringing this into our education system. We can start to use these tools with kids in kindergarten so they can understand how they can manage their state, how it's okay to feel their emotions and feel them. And it might feel uncomfortable, breathe through it, and giving them those tools versus what my generation at least was taught was, don't feel them. Big girls don't cry, boys don't cry,
Suck
don't
it up.
problems to work, get up, etc., which is how we create the toxic emotions stuffed down in our body that later causes dis-ease and leads to some level of, imbalance in the body. And so bringing it to the education system, if there's a way to do that, if there's teachers out there, advocates out there that are interested in learning this, that's definitely conversations that I would like to be having, because there's so much that we can do, and just letting people know that we can actually heal trauma without having to talk about it. We don't have to rehash it every time.
Yeah, true.
And feel like we've been hit by a bus every time. And
True.
I'm not dissing any kind of modality. Every modality works, and there's many types of modalities because there's many types of people. Talking about it helps bring it to awareness. Actually releasing the trauma requires something deeper. And that's where we use the tools of the unconscious mind. And we don't have to talk about it because the unconscious mind already knows what happened. We need to get the learning because everything is happening for us. And I know in the moment that's really hard to accept. However, everything is happening for us. And if we can just step back and ask that question, how is this happening for me? What am I supposed to be learning?
Mhm.
As soon as we have the learning, we get to move through it with
Yes.
grace and ease. And we can go back in time and capture learnings for past trauma in order to release the trauma without having to talk about it. And that's powerful.
Thank you,
Indeed.
Melissa. Christina was unmuted, and then Julie.
Okay, yeah, I would like to say that, particularly in business, teaming is always important, right? Collaboration. There are so many businesses I talk to every day that I understand they want to build their business their way or build it. They want to get government contracts for something, a service that they offer. But a lot of times, where the real success comes in is when they team up with someone else that has a complementary product or service. And so I think collaboration it's key in life, of course, right? I mean, we collaborate with our partners, sometimes even with our kids, to just in personally. But I also think in business, it seems like an obvious thing, but there are a lot of people that are not really open to that. And I think
Yeah.
collaboration is where it's always built. I mean, to the levels of success that are beyond usually that initial success, but those that really go above their wildest dreams are usually with collaboration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I think about this whole idea, and I've always thought about this idea of, vulnerability, transparency, authenticity when it comes to, connecting and collaboration. So, like, I think about like me sharing my story around, the loss of my husband, then Regina feels, comfortable enough to share her story with me, right? And so it's giving people that platform
Mhm.
that they're able to share their story, because when we share our stories, that's when people realize that they're not alone and that there's somebody else out there. See, I think too many people sit in this space that this is only happening to me, that nothing, that there's no other resources out there, that there's nobody else that's going to be out there to understand me. And so when we share who we are, and it's not always easy. And I'm not talking about like airing your dirty laundry all the time, but I'm talking about being true to who you are and sharing that and seeing where it goes, because that's where the true and honest conversations will happen. And then I look at this panel of people, and this is just a small, sampling of everybody that's out there in the world, right? And Melissa and I, and now Susie, have all said that we're Master Pracs and NLP, right? But we do it a little bit differently. And if I know that I'm not the right fit for somebody in particular, it's going ahead and saying, okay, let me connect you to Melissa. Let me connect you to Susie. Let me connect you to Colleen or Michael or Christina or who's ever the right fit. See, I think too many times people, like, they think that they can be everything to everybody because they don't believe that there's going to be enough business out there for them. Stop it.
Yes.
There is enough business to go around for everybody, and start giving away what doesn't really fit you, because it will come back to you. I assure you it will. It's like, stay in your own lane. Everybody knows what they are like really good at, and stick with that and pass the wealth to everyone.
I love
Thanks.
that. I love that.
Michael, did you want to chime in here?
Yes, I just thought it'd be polite to go last. Let all the go first. Just to echo what Julie was saying. Part of my regular coaching business, it's about probably 1,000 members, and everyone's got a program, a plan, a this, a that. And I find that when we get together as a collective and can network, and people are referring people to other people, or even creating financial joint venture relationships and all that, it really works well. But I just find the most success comes from getting your message out there to as many people as possible, and having other people that want to put energy behind you because they believe in you and what you can do. And just to highlight again what Julie said, most people, when they're kind of selfish with how they can help people, they have a marketing problem. They have an inbound problem. If you find yourself selfish and not referring other people or sharing, that just means you don't have enough opportunities in front of you. So you have a scarcity mindset. And if we're going to make change, and everyone impacting teens, impacting lives, impacting health, impacting the world, there needs to be an amplification of a message, and how well we can all get together and outbound and make sure that we are energetically promoting each other positively. I feel like that collaboration is going to let everyone who's doing it hit it out of the park.
Agreed. I think too, piggybacking on what Julie and Michael just said, there's that element of when we meet someone, finding out how we can serve them. Who can I introduce you to? Who do you, what are you needing in your business? How can I help you? That giving first also supports that whole collaborative effort, and the law of reciprocity kicks in. When you help somebody else, they want to return that. And so I have found that to be a really great step to take when I meet somebody. Is who can I introduce you to?
Yeah.
What can I do for you? What do you need in your business? And whether that's clients or that's, other providers that they need, or whatever that is. Yeah. Susie?
I learned something which I think is very valuable. Even though I'm in the teen space, I did step in, and I still am on the executive committee of NABO. It's the National Association of Women Business Owners. So I think when we look at business in general, or just who we are and what we're doing, if we can find another place outside of exactly what we're doing to serve in some capacity. And
Yes.
For me, it was sitting on the board, still being there. I just came off the presidency, as Colleen said. And I'll tell you, just in that year or two I've been on the board there, has taught me so many ways, like you were saying, Regina, is how can I help you? It
Right.
puts you in that immediate service. And let's be real, NABO was not it wouldn't have been the first choice for a teen, coach, right?
Yeah.
You would go with this, where all these women are trying to grow a business. It made sense, but it kind of didn't make sense. I could have sat on any nonprofit, kid nonprofits, but that one served best at the time. And it taught me in that space, like Julie's saying, is how can we share the wealth? How can we serve other people? And having that service mindset teaches us a lot about collaboration and how people aren't always for everybody. And I think if we can own that, it's great. But I say, just find somewhere to serve that's outside of just for you, not looking
Yes.
like, how can I serve this because it's good for my business? It's
Right.
how can I serve because I have a lot to offer. And
Right.
how can I share that and get that out there? I think that can be one of the biggest steps in getting started and learning how to be a good collaborator.
I agree. And there are so many opportunities for service. And they're all around us. And I currently serve as a director of a board for a nonprofit in Uganda, which wouldn't have been possible 5 years ago, right?
Right. That's very cool.
And so, but there are a lot of opportunities that come from that to collaborate to help that. And it's been a real learning experience to, it's not my first board experience, but certainly my first experience in this particular realm. And it's been a real learning experience. And one of the key factors for us is fundraising and getting the funds to support this program, which supports particularly children, young girls, and women. And it's been really educational. Melissa?
Well, maybe there's some collaboration we can do there, Regina, because
Awesome.
I couldn't find a nonprofit that served my purposes for what I wanted to do. And so I started my own, and it's called Girls Matter. And we keep girls in school in
Awesome.
Uganda and Kenya to stop the teenage marriages and break the poverty
Yes.
cycle, one girl, one family, one village at a time. And there is so much need. And
There
when we
is.
stop and think about it, we have so much, many of us, in the first world. And if we were to just give up, one Starbucks tea or coffee
Right.
every week and donate that, that's menstrual supplies for these girls so that they can go to school every week of the month. And to
Exactly.
your point, Susie, I fully agree with what you're saying. There's so much learning that happens from being part of an organization like that. And then there's also so much fulfillment that comes from it as well. And I don't know if you've read any of Lynn Twist's books, or even the book Half the Sky, which is about women holding up the sky, or half the sky they should be and they're not. What it comes down to is there's a lot of people that are unhappy and have so much.
Mm.
And then when you go and see people in the third world, they're happy with so little.
Yeah.
And when we can collaborate to bring the two together, we can raise the quality of life for people who have little, and we can raise the happiness quality factor of life for people that have so much and yet hadn't found that happiness yet. And that's a powerful collaboration to create as well.
It is. We literally change the world. You know, we have so many opportunities available to us today that we did not have 3 years ago even. And you know, as horrible as the entire COVID situation and the shutdown and all of that was, it opened up the world to us in ways that we hadn't had access to it before. And we're able to literally, you know, reach around the world and work with others and collaborate. So, folks, we are out of time. I know we could keep going on this for a while, but we're going to move into our wrap-up round. Oh, and let's see, we have some comments here. Let me just see what folks have said. So Darlene Eaton says, hey, hello, friends. So somebody obviously here knows her. And Stephanie Treasure has given us some applause. So Colleen, I'm going to turn it over to you to run our wrap-up round. If you will, please have each person share their final thoughts on collaboration, as well as their contact information, and I'll put their information out into the comments. And be sure and share your own as well, Colleen.
Yes, and I will share my thoughts at the very end, but Christina Jones, I would love for you to go first and share just your final thoughts on collaboration, what we've been talking about today, and then share your contact information, if you will, please.
Well, my final thought, just hearing others talk about helping women, is just that I really think it's important to also look at the people around you who might be suffering as well. And I don't mean necessarily in your inner circle or even just right outside of your circle. Those people probably have all they need, but there's people that are just unseen, I think. And that's a group that, for example, I'm working with currently through my church, just helping those women, for example, that just are unseen and need help. And I think collaborating, to your point, I think, Susie, outside of what you do and just helping others is very fulfilling. But also, it's not just fulfilling, it's just so many. I know that US is a rich country, but I also know there's a lot of people here that just need help or need someone to show that they care.
Mm-hmm.
So that is important to me in life and also in business, to help that entrepreneur who doesn't think that they can do it or no one's taking them seriously. I love to help in that way. And so my business is Province Consulting Group, and we provide government strategy, contract strategy, and also positioning to do business. So that's any business that's interested in entering the government space, selling their products or services to federal, state, or local government. And I think my website is there, or will be, or should I?
It's
It
there.
is.
Okay.
Yep, in the comments section.
Yep.
Yeah, so click on
Okay,
comments.
I would
and
love
you'll see that.
anyone who's interested to book a chat with me there.
All right. Thank you so much, Christina, and thank you for being here today. Julie Jones, please share with us your final thoughts and how we can connect with you as well.
So my final thoughts, I always kind of go back to a message about like, you matter, your voice matters. And it doesn't matter whether you're on a stage like this or a big stage, wherever you speak your truth has a ripple effect in your community and in your life and in your world. And I really, truly believe that, as a child, and I know several of us share the same thing, I was bullied. And I think that so many of us feel so alone at different parts of our life. And I'm here to tell you that you don't need to feel alone. And I always have more room in my life for more friends, for friendships, to welcome people who feel like they really don't have anybody else. I promise you, you'll have fun with me. Like that's the bottom line, is that we'll have some fun together, but that we'll really connect, and I'll get to know you, because in my world, if I meet you just for 10 seconds, you will get eye contact, a smile, and a hello, because I don't believe we're acknowledging people enough in this world. And that's where it starts. When people feel acknowledged, that's where the collaboration will really begin. So my website's right there, juliejones.biz. I'm the one and only, I like to say. So please connect with me. There's ways to connect with me on my website or on all my social media. And I would love to, just have that conversation with you, especially if you feel alone.
Thank you, Julie. She is the one and only for sure. All right, Michael, final thoughts, and tell us how we can connect with you.
I mean, my final thoughts on collaboration, it's get your message out there and keep getting your message out there. Stay in alignment, and it will happen if you keep pushing. You never know who you're going to impact, and you never know what it is that you're actually saying is going to impact somebody. That's my biggest thing on collaboration and trying to be a change agent. My website is total-disruption.com. We're always looking for guests on the show. You can tune in there. We have conferences and a bunch of get-togethers. So if you want to get more information about that, and my email and phone number in the chat roll, I'd love to connect.
Thank you, Michael, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing that message with us. That was wonderful. Okay, Melissa, please give us your final thoughts and how we can connect with you.
I just want to let people know that we're simply not meant to go through life alone. So we do collaborate, we raise everybody up when we work together. And my big aha around collaboration early on was that it's not I give to you, you give to me. It's not circular like that. It's more like a river. So there's somebody downstream from you that helps clients, and that creates a new problem for the client that you can help solve. And then you solve that problem for the client, and that creates a new problem that someone else can help solve. So who else is downstream from you, and who else is upstream from you? And those are your ideal collaboration partners, and go out and find them, because I've found mine, and it's amazing to work in collaboration, in partnership with people. And as I said, all boats rise together. And you can find me at my website, yourguidedhealthjourney.com, or simply email me at melissa@yourguidedhealthjourney.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa, for being here. And I totally agree with you on the river analogy. That was a beautiful visual for us to see. Susie, you want to go ahead and wrap up with your thoughts and how we can connect with you?
Yeah. I love how you put that, Melissa. I'm pretty much in that same boat, or in that same boat, water. No,
No pun intended.
No, I know. I do these little collab and connects. And what I do with those is I pick very strategic people in my space. You would almost think they're possibly my competition. But as Julie stated earlier, you're not for everybody. I want to know who are the good people that when I'm not a good fit, or they're not a good fit for me, right? Because it's not about you being a fit for them and them being a fit for you. It goes both ways. So I want to know who are the people that I can send them to, because ultimately that builds a trust and that builds a really good pipeline. I also know that you, as say a health coach or any of the other coaches here, you're working with adults. They're probably parents. Well, you can balance their life, get them amazing and stuff. But if they've got a wild teen or something crazy at home going on, it's not going to be that great. So I feel like there's always space for that. So I'm very intentional in who I do try to collaborate with and who I do have coffee chats with. And it can be direct competition too. I want to know them. I want to trust them. And I want to build, like you said, build this circle around me of people that can be just a good wheel, because there is enough business, right, Julie?
I 100% believe in the proximity principle, exactly what you're talking about, Susie. And I think it's important for us to remember that we're always learning. I've loved the quote, if learning is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. If we truly want to be a leader, we must have love. We must earn respect. We must give love. We also must influence in a very positive way that allow others to follow. And if we're not doing that, I'm surrounded by so many amazing business coaches that do so much similar to what I do that I love working with, because someone that might not be a great client for me is a wonderful client for them, but they lift me up. They educate me. There's so much they teach me. I'm surrounded by amazing communities like NABO and Networked Live and so many other communities that I participate in, and the ladies that are in my community participate in. And I think it's important for us to remember at that level of collaboration, that's how you build your net worth. Every single person in our network builds that. So be very aware of who is in that network, because you must remove the poisonous individuals within that network that pull you down, that suck all the energy from you, that might not be those positive influences, and surround yourself with the individuals that are there to build you up, that fuel your success. Like you said, really put the wind in your sails, and be very careful with those that are there for selfish or other reasons. And if there's a way to educate them on why you are the way you are and how we can all collaborate, I think that is really the first step in us changing the future of what it looks like in this world. So those are my final thoughts. I can be reached at ColleenBiggs.net. You could also just Google my name, Colleen Biggs, and find out all about me on Google. And Regina, I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to assemble this panel of individuals here today. They've really taught me a lot, given me a lot to think about. And I think it was definitely on purpose.
Awesome. This has been a great show, folks. I've truly enjoyed getting to know you a little bit and learn about the great difference you're all making in the world. You are all making an impact, and together we can make a greater impact and change a lot more lives and impact a lot more people positively. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Colleen, for being our guest co-host today and for accepting that. Really appreciate it, and for bringing these wonderful folks together. And with that, folks, we're going to say goodbye until next time. So have a great day, and bye for now.
Wow.